City 2, Villa 1, alongside me, Martin O'Neill and Darius Vassell. Darius, I'll begin with you. Your assessment of those first 45 minutes. What a half.
Yeah, first of all, great game of football so far. I think City have been excellent. I think the game is panning out as we expected it, as we predicted. City with the possession and Villa looking to break. And I think City were unfortunate to concede. They were on top, but they've come back really well and scored at a great time just before half-time. It can knock the stuffing out of you as a team to go in 2-1 down. It was
a Phil Foden free kick, which we'll get to in just a moment. But Martin, I mean, it was very tight for those first few minutes, and then kind of control from City. But Villa seemed to weather the storm fairly well, kind of through the first part of the half.
Well, yeah, they did. I think the most important thing is that if you are going to play with two out-and-out wide players, in Jack, in the sense that they're going to give you proper width. I'm not talking about, inverted fullbacks and things like this here, but your proper width from two wide players, then you've got to get them the ball. Well, there's no doubt that they've had the ball. And Jack in particular, in the first 10 or 15 minutes, does what Jack does. He shapes to go outside, then steps in and then lays a little pass. I think sometimes when he's beaten the first man, he's coming in and he's just got that little extra second. I think he should have a shot, the shot. I'm quite sure that the manager's spoken to him about this here, and I think Jack mentioned it a couple of years ago, but then you get back into a feeling, I can't, I'll just lay it off. Whereas Doku on the other side is just giving Digne a really tough time. He can move from a standing position. He's electric. He's absolutely terrific. He's putting balls in. And if you had this is a night where Haaland's sitting in the stand thinking, God Almighty, the balls are coming in right, left, and centre. I could have touched 3 of those into the net, and then all doubters would have left me alone. But it's been a terrific game, really, really terrific. But getting back to your point about Villa, they absolutely weathered it in the sense that they come fighting, roaring back. And on the break have looked very dangerous.
They have indeed. We spoke about as well, Darius, before the game. We kind of highlighted, you two did, key battlefield in the midfield. Yeah. Who's fared better, do you think, so far?
I think City are on top, but there have been moments, and we thought that there would be. And Villa were able to capitalise on their moments, and that's what wins and that's what decides football matches. So City need to continue to be clinical, finish this game strong. They've got a great chance. I'm just considering the amount of stuffing that has knocked out of Aston Villa. You saw Duran walking in there, really disappointed in his half. I thought he's been good, he's been great, but just because of that goal, feels like the whole world's on his head.
It does. It's interesting, isn't it? Because even as well, I mean, those last 5 minutes, it felt City almost did pepper the Villa goal, got the free kick, there was a couple of chances. But before that, the 45 minutes kind of before that, there wasn't too many times that we were suffocating them like we were there. Do you think that's just a little bit of a mental kind of fatigue at the end of the half and the goal?
Yeah, the goal, the
free kick, is that kind of...
From the Villa's viewpoint?
Yes, yeah.
Well, I don't know about that there, but you would be absolutely livid with Zaniolo, he's the boy who's just turned his back on it. So the goalkeeper feels as if he's lined the wall up properly. Possibly maybe thinking that Alvarez is going to have another chance at it. I think we were thinking in here that Foden might have a little look at it. But eventually, if the wall stands still or is in its proper position, it will hit him and it'll rebound to safety or something like this here. But it's a great goal from City's viewpoint. But when the manager gets in and sees that there, he will be apoplectic.
Yeah, it reminds us of great word as well, apoplectic. Love that. It reminded me as well of a goal United scored here at this end. Nasri turning out the wall as well. You never want to see it. That made it 2-1. Going back to the early goals then, so it was around the 10th minute, very quick into the half. Manchester City goal, and it was a lovely, lovely finish from a man we highlighted, Rodri. Key player out there and a beautifully taken finish, Darius.
Really well worked prior to the goal, prior to the finish as well, and City have been dominant in that sort of area. Loads of intricate passing and combinations around the edge of the box, trying to find the penetrative passes, and on that occasion he was able to get it right and score a goal. They've had other opportunities. I think it fell to Alvarez a couple of times. He's tried to side foot it into the corner of the net, and the second one he's tried to lace it. So he's aware of his misses, he's trying to do better, and hopefully, for himself, he'll be out there second half and he'll stick his third opportunity away.
Absolutely. Do you remember having games like that, though? Where it's kind of coming and you just...
That's how it is as a forward. You've got to think, you've got to let go of your miss once you've missed and go on to the next chance and be prepared for that one and be composed in the situation. I think he is composed in the situation because I'm looking at him and he's making a definite decision in what type of finish he wants to do.
Yes.
He's not just smashing it.
OK, yeah, so it is controlled. It's just waiting for it to hit the back of the net. And then looking then to Villa, 10 minutes later, I thought it was a beautiful break and a beautifully crafted goal as well, and that man Duran there with the finish.
Yeah, well, we talked about it pre-match and saying that there's a possibility that when you have a lot of possession and you're playing in the opposition half so much, that you have to be very, very careful. And Villa have the players who can actually cause you a lot of problems. And it was I must admit, it was a terrific move. Great little 1-2 as well too. There was debates about whether it was offside to begin with or whether there was a little bit of interference. In fairness, we didn't see that there, and the goal stood, and it was a really good goal from Villa's viewpoint. Back in the game, the problem with that there is that from a City viewpoint, just for the next 5 or 6 minutes, even though you might have some forward play, it plays in your mind. You've just conceded. You've scored a goal. You've done brilliantly to get the goal in front. You take a breath of, what shall I say, relief almost in the sense that you've done it. And then the next thing, you've just conceded the other end. So all your good work seems to have been lost.
Yes.
But having said this here, they got it back decidedly there just before half-time. And that, in the sense, in the way the goal was scored, from a Villa viewpoint, that will be a really annoyance to them.
Just on that, when you talk about it undoes all your hard work. Is that there when you need your leaders on the pitch to step up and get your composure back and say we go again?
Get you back. But City, I'm saying this here from this viewpoint here as almost as if to say, oh gosh, that's the death knell of City. It's far from it, because they've been in that position before. What I'm talking about is really just on the moment. All your good work, you've got your goal in front, you've been patient, you've scored your goal, and within 3 minutes that work has been undone. Then lesser sides than Man City would feel, or would ponder on it for a lot longer. Let me put it this way. Yes. But Man City come back into it again, and Man City always feel as if they can get a goal.
They do indeed. I wanted to quickly pick up on, we spoke about Jack out on the left, but Doku having a great game on the right-hand side.
And as we said, it's almost like a partnership, even though they're on other ends of the pitch. And when Jack's doing his work on one side of the pitch, Doku will have his work to do. He'll be needing to get into the box, but he'll be watching. And if Jack's getting loads of crosses in and loads of assists, he'll feel like he wants to do that, Doku, when it's his turn. Yeah. And I think there are almost competing against each other in a positive way for the team. And I felt it would be that case.
It really was. And there's been some so close, them final balls getting put across by him as well. In the dressing rooms now, if you're the manager, you get very in the Villa changing room, disappointed with that goal. But before that free kick, you were going in at 1-1. What do you think the kind of conversation is in the changing room at the moment?
For Villa? Right, OK. So they will have a little look. Well, from my viewpoint, I'd want him to see what he has done wrong in that wall for a start. And even if it's just to get it off my chest as much as anything else, hold on. You've turned your back on the ball. You've allowed a gap that wouldn't have existed there had you just stood still. The ball's supposed to hit you. That's why you're in the wall. That's why we put you in there in the first place. So after your little moan for a minute or two, and you felt, well, that's a bit negative, I must admit, but then you start on the positive side then about the players, how well they've done in the game, how dangerous they look on the break, those particular things. Got to tighten up, maybe try and get out to Jack a little bit quicker, if that was the case. Try and get out to Doku a little bit quicker. Easier said than done, I must admit. Those particular things. But overall, I don't think that Aston Villa will be displeased with their performance. I think that they have done really fine. And as they've proved, they are capable of scoring a goal.
Yeah, they are indeed. And as well, they've still got Leon Bailey there on the bench as well to maybe bring on and get them back into it. From a City point of view, player-wise as well, it is only 2-1. Which I know any player or manager or pundit will say it's not the scoreline anyone likes. So what do you feel the conversation between the players will be? Because they've also threatened as well, as we said, Darius.
Situations like this often gets said, the next goal's the important one. Obviously, City 2-1 ahead, finishing that half so strong. City are growing very much into the game and can finish strong with what they've got on the bench. So City can be more positive, obviously, than Aston Villa because of, obviously, the goal that Villa conceded. And just by the way, you was talking about Unai Emery and how he would have felt about that goal. The camera did pan to him, and he was absolutely livid, by the way. He sank into his chair, and he was livid. So, Martin, if he is speaking to the lads, he needs to keep that short because there might be a couple of...
Mine would have been a wee bit more prolonged, I must admit. However, you're right. He can't dwell on it. It's happened. and they've got a specialist coach, haven't they? The set piece coach as well.
Yeah, they do have.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a big problem for them. So the key to Villa is don't spend too much time on it. It is a negative. They have done okay, like Martin O'Neill said, but I do feel City are the team that have grown into this game more.
I guess as well, also Douglas Luiz on a booking. Key to the way Villa play, but he'll have to be careful in that second half.
That's a great point, that is, and
Yeah.
he probably should have had a second booking. The referee, dubious to say anything about the referee, but let's see how he is second half.
Yes, indeed. Right, before we turn our attentions just to get some final thoughts, so we got a question that came in from Kevin on WhatsApp, and it's for you both, actually. He began by saying, I spoke to Martin at Main Road when he played for us. Did he enjoy himself in Manchester? And then the second part of the question is, and did Darius love pulling on the City shirt?
Well, you go, Darius, because mine could be a really long answer.
No, I'll be honest, it's simple. Absolutely loved it. Very proud to have played for Man City. Always enjoy coming back when I get invited to watch the games, and I feel very much a part of the club, even though I think it's 20 years since I put on that shirt. I've still got it somewhere at home.
You've still got it? Yeah. I love that. And as you know, when you're part of the City fabric of the club, you're always in it, Darius. Martin, what about for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I was delighted to go to Manchester City at the time. This would have been July time of 1981, and City had just won they had played in the FA Cup final. So there was the makings of a good side. But what was happening at Manchester City at the time is that they were, kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul in many aspects, So some players were coming in, and you think, you're going to galvanise. In fact, I helped get Trevor Francis to the football club as well, because I said to John Vaughan, you should take him if that's the case. Wow. Trevor was an absolute hero for the games that he played in, but for me, never was properly fit in the time for the 6 months. Kind of fell out a bit with John Vaughan, and in fairness, I did not play well enough at that particular time, and that's the long and the short of it. But Manchester City at Old Main Road, it was a time that I wouldn't change, I must admit, despite the fact not playing well enough for them during that time. And it was maybe a change for me as well too, because I had 10 years at Nottingham Forest, I had great success. I went to Norwich for a little period of time, then John Vaughan signed me, and kind of head all over the place at the time, feeling probably my heart was probably still at the City ground at that stage. However, that's beside the point. Excuse after excuse, didn't do well enough, but Man City, great club.
Great, thank you, Martin. Brilliant answer. Right, it's not too long till players are in the tunnel. Arsenal still 2-0, and I know that players won't be looking at that, but it is key from a City point of view to kind of see this game through and get those 3 points. I mean, 2-1 tight, but that's what they'll be hoping for.
Yeah, and if they can, get some goals, start chipping away at that goal difference as well, if they can.
Yeah, that goal difference, well, we were talking about that, actually. Maybe hoping might have been a few more, but still a half of football to maybe get them, Martin.
I would be thinking, first of all, just go and win the game for a start. That's the most important thing. If there is a possibility, as Darius has mentioned, if you can get the third one relatively early on and you feel as if you're okay, you're never okay, particularly in this league, but yes, then have a thought about it, but win the game first.
Win the game first, lovely. Well, that's the thoughts of Darius, Vassell, and my friend next to me, Martin. We're going to be back at full time to talk about all that we've seen on the pitch behind us. Alistair Mann and Kit Simons have got your commentary on the City app. The boys in blue are ready to come out in the tunnel, so I'll hand back over to Alistair. Thank you for joining us, and I'll see you all at full time. Thank you, Martin, and thank you, Darius.
Thank you, Kel. So City 2, Aston Villa 1. Really exciting first half. 10 attempts for City, 3 attempts for Villa, 5 on target for the Blues, 1 for Villa. And it's 2-1, courtesy of Phil Foden's free kick after Rodri's earlier goal had been cancelled out by a really well-worked goal scored by Jean Duran. It was Morgan Rogers, the former City